Hey everyone, we're back.
Hello, guys. Sorry.
Episode 3.
Yes, welcome back. This week, Morgan and I, um, oh yes. Hi, I'm Sarah. This is Morgan. Morgan's a life and clarity coach, and I'm a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. So, welcome back.
Yeah.
This week, we're going to talk about the thoughts behind taking the jump and the transition from 9 to 5 to our full-time entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
and also what it was like telling other people about our decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there.
There's so much stuff here. It's like where to start? Because it's a process, and it's like for me the whole time that I was like leaving, I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff looking down. That's the kind of feeling. Like I'm gonna jump. You have to jump, Morgan. Just jump, Morgan. Jump. Do it. Go. Take the jump, Morgan, go. Like that's how it felt. um, yeah. How did it feel to you, out of curiosity?
Well, it's something I've dreamt about forever. But when it became more of a reality, when realizing I could do it, it was a number of like 2 to 3 months that were it was very concentrated.
Mm.
And whenever in the beginning, when I was thinking like, oh my God, I can do this now, I would get so excited, and like every little spark of energy and creativity just started flooding back to me, and I felt like a child, so happy. And when this was happening, I hadn't tapped into that amount of joy so concentrated in a very long time. So that to me was a big message that, yeah, you need to do this.
Mm.
But I also experienced something similar, a feeling similar to what Morgan was describing, of being on the edge of a cliff, because it you're moving away from comfort and what your mind knows, and um, what you're used to, your routine, the job you go to, the job you do, and everything that everyone says, which is you need to do this job, and stay in line or whatever. So to think like, whoa, I could actually make this jump is it's very scary. It is walking through fear.
It really is. And like, it's like your heart and your gut take over for you for a while. And
Yeah.
that's a really beautiful place to be. And I think like when you stop rationalizing and you stop trying to figure it all out, it like figures itself out. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I think wasn't one of our questions like how long did it take you? That one.
Yeah. Yeah. To decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I launch into that one first? Because
Go for it.
I actually like, so my experience is a little bit strange because I was actually working with my parents in my 9 to 5. So I had to like tell them as their daughter and as their coworker. And also I had other family members involved, and just, it was like, I had actually tried almost a year ago, almost like a year ago. And I started talking to my parents, and I was like, I don't know if like this job is what I'm meant to do. Like, I love working with you guys. And I really did. Like, a lot of people hear that I worked with my parents and they were like, oh, was it nice to get out? And I was like, not really. Like, I liked working with them. Um, and we had a really, you know, I would say like my mom and I, our working relationship was incredibly awesome and expansive. My dad and I, like, it's interesting because I've learned the most from him. Like, he's literally an expander for me. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's like Lacey Phillips talks about having an expander. So essentially someone who can expand your subconscious. They like kind of show you it's possible. And my dad is an entrepreneur at heart. He's always making businesses and creating deals like all the time. And I definitely have that entrepreneur spirit because of him. And I'm so grateful for that experience because it's taught me how to run a business too. But like, I remember I kind of like, I wanted to talk to them about it as their daughter more than their coworker. But then of course, like if I do that, then they know as like they may have to fill my role in a, you know what I mean? So it was like this weird moment. And almost a year ago, I had started to speak to them about it. And they were like, okay, if this is what you want to do, like go ahead and do it. And I don't know if it just like wasn't magnetically the right time for me. I definitely I think I wasn't really ready in terms of my confidence in my coaching maybe and my marketing, and how I market myself as a coach, but like it didn't happen. And then in May of this year, I had a medium tell me about what, she's like, you have to just do it. She's like, you're actually going to hold back yourself and your family's business because you're like so powerfully negative. Like if you're not meant to be somewhere, you will cause destruction there. And so she was like, you need to, she's like, if you're not going to get out for yourself, get out. I don't like to use that term. If you're not going to transition out, for yourself, do it for them because you're going to start hurting them. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I can already start to see there's like some tension. And so I was like, okay, now's the time to make the move. And but then it took like 3.5 months to like train new people to do my job. And that was a really weird moment because I had to go from we to I. Like I felt like I would like literally my last day full time, I was still being like we, and I was like, oh my God, Marie, you're not going to be here on Monday. You know what I mean? This is no longer yours. And so I kind of had to like hand my baby over and stuff. So that was like a great experience, but also really weird. Yeah. So I had this like weird thing, but I will say this, like just as a little plug to my parents, they were like so supportive, you know. They like, honestly, they couldn't have been more supportive. You know, my dad keeps saying he wants to like invest and stuff. And I'm like, you know, that's what I mean by entrepreneur spirit. He sees an idea and he's like, I want to be a part of it.
I want in.
Yeah. So that, I just want to put that out there too, because I do think, you know, there is this idea that there will be friction. There will be a lot of problems breaking it to the people you love the most. And at the end of the day, I would encourage everyone not to bring hostility into the conversation. You know, like don't start it with a fight kind of thing, you know, like a lot of people, these kinds of things will come out in a fight, be like, well, you know what, I'm going to leave anyway. And that kind of thing hurts everybody involved, including yourself. So I would just encourage everyone, when you break it, you know, plan it out, say what you want to say. Essentially do it as an adult. Like you have to grow up, and you can't be like going in triggered already. You know, and of course I'm just talking about my parents, but for me, they were the big people I had to tell. I don't have like a partner or a spouse, so that wasn't really an issue for me. But anyway, that was my timeline, and I'm very grateful for it too, because COVID actually helped me save. I know not everyone can say this, but because I like wasn't going out, I wasn't drinking anymore, you know, not eating at restaurants, not buying clothes and things, and not traveling, I was saving a lot of money. And so I I'm very grateful for this kind of shift in my life so that I could, just save a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just will say that, I know we talked about that last week, but I do think that there is somehow like the universe is working for you if you are meant to like really become an entrepreneur. At least that's the way it felt to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, do you
Yeah.
have like, experiences like that?
Yeah. Riffing off that, I think a lot of like when we talk energetics in the universe, um, it comes down to friction. Like if you're meant to be doing something else, you're going to start feeling the friction in your life showing you that it's mirroring to you like this isn't meant to be. And I was experiencing myself at my job like a lot of friction going on, and I wasn't happy there in the months before leaving. And it's easy in moments like that to take the victim mentality, like, oh my God, they're making me do all this work and all this, and um, you can make it into this reactionary thing, but really no, it's you and how you're receiving that, and what are you doing about it. So when I had that shift in my mind, um, and I'm grateful for my boss and her she had a way about her that would sort of light a fire under you and like make you just get to the point and to the truth and to like the bottom line. And that helped me think about how I was being passive in that job because I knew it wasn't for me. And so I wasn't, you know, taking the next step to go above and beyond in my role there. So that was, it sucked for me, feel like knowing, oh, I can do better, and I'm not helping the people around me. I'm not performing at my top level. I'm doing just enough. And it's not why we're here on this planet, to do just enough and to like clock the card, or punch in and out, to just go through the motions. It's not why we're here. And that just thought is like such a strong undercurrent for me. Like, we're here to create, all of us are here to create magic and wonderful things, and basically our passions to come to life. And so all this is to say, there was a lot of friction I was feeling this year, especially, that got the balls rolling for me. And I started to look at the practicality of the situation. Is this time? Can I make this work? And feeling it out that way. When it came to telling people, yeah, for me as well, it was telling my parents, my dad, especially. I felt like he would not react well. And it was nice. I spoke with Morgan about what it was like for her telling her parents, and she reminded me that, just make it a very calm conversation. Yes, because if you do go in and you're defensive, then that you're telling yourself there's something to be defensive about. Like, it's not about the reactions of other people. It's about what you're thinking about the situation. So I just went in and told my dad and his girlfriend, like, this is something I have been thinking about for a long time, because I structured everything. And I have a plan, and I trust in my process. And And again, this comes back to trust. If you trust in yourself, then others will trust in you, because you're reflecting your environment. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's where my mind went.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's actually interesting because that conversation with you, even though we were talking as friends, I was like, I got off the phone with you invigorated. Like, I was like, this is so cool. Sarah's about to do something, because your timeline was shorter than mine, like, yeah, in terms of months. And I was like, she's so cool. And that's what inspired me to like want to help people become entrepreneurs and leaders, actually, because I was like, this feels amazing. Like, I love, and I was like, oh my God, I want to help everyone. And everyone knows now, like, if you are thinking about going out on your own, call Morgan at your own risk, because I will pump you up to do it. Like, I will have you do it the next day. Okay. So like, it's literally like, I love helping people become entrepreneurs. People who are really meant to be, like, it's just such an honor to be able to like see people go from followers to leaders, especially when they're meant to be a leader and they're just not stepping into their authenticity or their worth or their trust or whatever it is for them. And it's just like, oh my God, so like, yeah, like, so great.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a big part of like being like, I really want to help people get to that place and be able to, because so many coaches are like, oh, I coach coaches, or I coach people already in leadership positions, or the corporate coaches, or people who are just starting off as entrepreneurs. But there's not a lot of support for the people kind of transitioning into it, and it's really, or need expansion in it as well, because I think a lot of people too, they really want to be entrepreneurs, but there's no one in their life who's like that, and so they really they don't have an example anywhere. So being able to help them and set an example, but also just show them it's possible. And in this day and age, it is the easiest time in history to become an entrepreneur because of the digital age. Like, I don't know about you, Sarah, but my startup costs are like nothing. I mean, I decide, the platforms for my website, right? My calendars, that's about it. And my platforms, I would say, is like really your only expense. And a lot of the time you can get away with the free options until you have a lot more clients. So it's definitely like, it's really easy comparatively. I'm not saying it's easy, but comparatively, you just don't need as much cash anymore if you're in the service industry. I don't know about products. Products are like its own beautiful beast to me that I'd love to learn about someday. But it's pretty cool that we can do that now.
So cool.
Yeah. And I just want to throw in, one of my clients is a mom. And first of all, she is a powerhouse. She's like an inspiration. Every time I get off a call with her, I'm inspired. But she's also transitioning into being a full-time entrepreneur. And, it's interesting because she and I were talking about pricing, and she came in with like $35 an hour. And I almost fell off my seat, and I was like, no, like, you need to be charging like $125. You are an expert in a very niche market. And not to mention the fact that like, that's just like way too little. How are you going to survive off that? And we were getting into it, and she was like, wait. She's like, if I charge this much, the amount I suggested, she's like, I only need 2 clients a week to match my current income. And I was like, and she was like, oh my God. And like, all of a sudden for her, it was like, because she had originally had like a 1.5 year timeline. And my thought is like, you're going to get up to this in like a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like you really, because, so anyway, I just want to say, I'm telling this story because I just want to show that like, it's not impossible for mothers. It's not impossible for people in relationships. Often, in fact, you will actually like every story I've heard, it's usually like really good for your family actually, because it means you have so much more time available, and or your time is your own. You can like just choose when you want to work. And for so many moms, for so many dads, it's just such a great experience. I just wanted to put that out there in case we do have some like people with family, you're concerned about your family. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So we have, yeah, well, okay, on that note, what does it mean for you to leave the 9 to 5 and to make this jump?
What does it mean? It's for me, it's like it was really about energetics, really more than money or freedom. You know, it's just like this is what I was meant to do.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't get away from it. I couldn't. I tried. I wanted, and I loved what I did at my old job. I loved who I worked with. And so it was like, it was painful to leave in a way, like that final day was pretty upsetting. It was very bittersweet. Um, but for me, it was about the energetics of it and just being like on my path, on the right path. And it's crazy to me because this is just who I'm meant to be. Like, I just feel so much more relaxed on the day to day. And as a projector as well, like my energy was shot. I, I think I said this earlier, but like I was using the weekends to recover, and now I'm not doing that. Now I can actually really enjoy my weekends, and I don't need to like block off all this time to sleep. So I I couldn't, like, my nervous system was, I mean, honestly, in 10 years, I probably would have been really sick if I had stayed, just because my body, like it just wasn't what my life was meant to be. And,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm called to a different path. And as like woo woo as that sounds, that's really what it was for me at the end of the day. It just, I couldn't deny this call. I had to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about for you?
Uh, Definitely the same. That, I mean, I've always felt like I've been wanting the freedom aspect.
Mhm.
Um, but as I've made this transition, I'm feeling more and more it really is about aligning your energy, um, and just following that. And yeah, like when I was at my 9 to 5, it was fine for a time, but then it it started to change, and I felt pretty soon into it like this isn't this doesn't light me up, and I would be snacking all the time through the day because I just needed something else, something beyond. And I would sometimes get into little head spins, if you will, and I would think about like, because we would play music in the office through the day, and I often would hijack be in charge of the playlist. And so sometimes I would go through like spells of like certain pop stars or like Lady Gaga, who I never really understood until the last couple years. Like I would start to really think about her a lot because she has a very expansive story and how she started. She just didn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And she just was Lady Gaga. She just was it. You just step into it,
Yeah.
into what you feel, into your vision. And like I would think about her or like Elton John or Freddie Mercury or like it tended to be singers because they tend to be very expansive for me and just like almost otherworldly because they have these huge voices. But I started to dream a lot I would, I love to daydream, but I daydreamed a lot at my job about like crazy expression. And that to me was a big sign, like I need to pursue something that allows me to be that, because
Yeah.
it's all I think about. And so that was a big thing. So yeah, aligning your energy, aligning my energy is a big reason why I needed to do this. Um,
I also find it interesting that your expanders are all like fashion icons. And they're literally, you just named all fashion icons.
that too, yeah. So I love to express myself and how I dress.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so that's a big thing for me. I just, yeah, I didn't feel alive in my job before, and that was causing disease and like dis-ease in the body, and just that's not good. If you don't feel alive, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's actually the perfect way to describe the shift is you're like, oh, I'm alive. Like that's literally, oh my gosh, Sarah, that was beautiful. It's literally so, that is how it feels. It's not even joy. It's just like, no, I'm alive. Like I'm here and I'm showing up all the time and I just get to be who I want to be.
Yeah.
And I don't have anyone to answer to. That's where the freedom does come in, where you really don't. And now here's the only thing about that. It means you have to really handle your self accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be accountable to yourself or you won't have a business, like at the end of the day. Like you have to be able to be self accountable, which is one of the things I like to teach on. But it's really, really important. Because I do see a lot of people, like in groups and stuff that I'm in, they really struggle with that, and in terms of being an entrepreneur. I do think that there gets to be a point of necessity too as an entrepreneur, like you have to show up or you won't have clients, but you won't have money or whatever. But it's, yeah, I don't know why I was going into that, but it shifts from being about everyone else. Like it's interesting too. I found like the drama in my life has like, I actually, I keep asking my roommate for information about her job of like, tell me, how are people interacting? I'm like, someone give me drama for God's sakes. I need something. It's terrible, but it's kind of like the point is, we all have this, the drama fades from your life and you just go do stuff. You stop struggling with decisions.
Right.
It's like, oh, no, I'm not going to struggle with how my website looks like. I'm just going to put it out there because who cares? Like, let's just do this,
Yes, you just start doing.
just to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you feel, if anyone out there does feel paralyzed with indecision, I highly recommend you look into like your past and perfectionism, because that's where I see a lot of entrepreneurs getting themselves into trouble. They're spending 20 billion hours on their website or on their Instagram bio. Like, stop it. Just do it and set a time for how long it should take you and then stop. Or figure out why you have those. Like, in terms of talking about thoughts, I feel like that is really paralyzing. If you have a perfectionist mentality, it's just like, it's never going to happen. And I'll also say this, in terms of marketing, I actually think having a perfectionist mentality isn't helpful. First of all, because it's paralyzing, but also because in the day and age of millennials, we want authenticity, right? We don't necessarily want, like, when I see another coach who has perfect pictures, I'm like, oh, but is she a coach or is she a Instagram influencer, or like is she trying to sell me? And I'm not judging her. I'm like, this is literally just what goes on in millennials' brains. Like, because we are so used to being spammed, we are actually like, we really appreciate authenticity. So because we know you're real then. So it's just really important to like keep that in mind. It's actually really unhelpful in every way. So if you have perfectionist issues, and I really did. I've done a lot of work around it. So I just highly recommend that. Yeah, it's a killer, that one.
Mm.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
are some thoughts that were paralyzing for you, Sarah, that came up?
Probably like fear in finances,
Mm,
fear of keeping up, like maintaining, like, okay, if I put myself out there, like, am I going to keep it up? Like,
yeah.
getting ahead of myself in that. Overwhelm, like, oh, there's so much to do. Yeah,
What did
fear.
you do about that feeling of overwhelm?
I did a lot of unblocking. I
Mm-hmm.
did a lot of mental subconscious work, just like cleaning out the gutter, if you will. So now I have like a much more fluid undercurrent of autonomic thought that's just of like, okay, just be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has enabled me to see how you handle overwhelm is really you just take one step at a time. Because that's really how it gets done. It's little baby steps added together. So just as much as you can be in the moment and sit down each day and have like a solid couple of hours of work, and that's like really all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Not like it's just really showing up each day and starting.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start, you get the momentum.
Yeah.
So it's just write out, like, throw on a page everything that you need to do, even if it's 10 pages, and you just start. Because really life is about the journey. So you want to try and hone in on the moment, to maybe to help with the unblocking thing. How you succeed is by being you. And in order to be you, you need to hone in on how am I able to feel amazing in every moment of the day?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's aligning with your own energy that will enable you to do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So don't focus on how am I going to find the time to fit these tasks in each day. No, focus on how am I going to feel good in every moment? How do I get my mind and self to that place? Because that's what's going to enable you to do all these things with such ease. It's going to be like, oh, okay, I just do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about distilling yourself and your mind and getting rid of the gunk.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, again, I think we said this every single episode, but like this is where you have to do the work. If you're feeling any type of way that's not positive, you need to deal with it. And that's the thing, like I'm always bartering for free services. I'm always saying like, let's swap, or I'll give you whatever you need. Just, do that therapy with me one more time. Because I really, really, or I pay for it. And when it comes to like, you have to constantly be up leveling and learning and be okay with like, we're all onions and we're all just like peeling back our layers. And if you really want to like embrace your authentic life, you have to keep pulling back layers. And this is the thing that like I really feel distinguishes inspired leaders and entrepreneurs from anyone else. They're just constantly learning about themselves and the world, and different ideas and new methods, and how can I be a better person today and tomorrow, and all of this beautiful stuff. And everything, as Marie Forleo says, everything is figure outable. It's like, just keep going, keep learning, keep reading, keep experimenting. It's really a great journey to be on. Like, every single time I do something for unblocking, I'm blown away by whatever it is that I remember and whatever it is I'm supposed to bring up in that moment. It's never what I think it's going to be, you know. It's always a journey, and you know, to be able to just keep finding out who you are, it's really an amazing journey. I can't recommend it enough. Keep learning like new stuff. Like I started learning tarot, and at first I just wanted it as a party trick, to be completely honest. And now it's becoming a part of my coaching business because it's how I connect to my kind of to the universe. It's how I connect to the higher power. And so how can I not include it in my coaching, right? Like I need to teach my clients everything I can about what I do, and everything that works for me. So how can I not expose them to it? So anyway, it's really, really, I don't know. Yeah, keep learning, guys. Sorry, that was really long-winded.
Yeah, here's a good way to think about doing the work and why it's so necessary and like the critical element. So if you jump from A to ZZZ and you envision your life when you're pure success, totally, you know, on top of the world, you have all the money, all the things, or whatever you're envisioning for yourself, you get to that point of pure freedom. How are you feeling? Because that's what you need to align with now, to be there, because it's all about being.
It is.
Yeah, it's not about attaining or any of that. And that freedom you're going towards is the freedom of being you. So hone in on that now, and then you are it. And that's the trick. That's when things fall into place, because you're ready, you're aligned, you understand that money is energy and it's value exchange, and you're evenly exchanging value with your environment because you see you and you are you.
Yeah.
And you don't have any walls up, you simply are. And so that's the key. Think about what you're heading towards and work on being that now internally.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It is that. It is becoming more you and stepping into your particular brand of crazy, you know what I mean? Like it's really fun, and it's really, yeah. You become you become unstoppable is what happens. It becomes this like domino or this like snowball effect of just like people, no one fucks with you, but like, you know, you start to just kind of like, yeah, you have what you need, and that's like the most important thing.
Yeah, you let go.
Yeah, exactly.
That concept of letting go.
I like how like I ramble and you like translate it into a much more succinct, exactly what I'm trying to say thing. I'm like,
It's okay. I ramble too. It's why we're here together.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were we going to talk about anything else today?
I think we covered a lot of it. We were talking about the thoughts that came up and how we handled them, what it meant for us to leave, and telling other people what that was like.
Yeah. I just to leave you with one more tidbit. Something that I found really helpful was like having a few mantras that kept me going through the tougher times, especially of like the leaving, which may help people. Like one of them that really always resonated with me was like, feel the fear and do it anyway. And whatever it is for you, whether it's that one or something else, but you know, have a mantra for this period in your life. It's it may be helpful, you know, just something that's on all your mirrors. Like, I can do this, I can do, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's very good tip. And I didn't realize I did the same thing essentially, and I have some like posters in my apartment. Um like one says I love you. Another says I am enough.
Hmm.
And then I have one that is my favorite probably. It's on the door and it's just like nonsense. It's like ah because it's just like a goofy thing to remind me like just disrupt my thoughts and
Yeah, exactly.
smile and laugh, and there you have it.
Yeah. All right. Are we good today?
I think so. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We
Yeah.
appreciate you.